Fermentation is a process that occurs in both plants and animals, and what it is the breakdown of glucose in the absence of oxygen. Oxygen. So usually aerobic respiration, one of the reactants or substrates will be oxygen. When oxygen is not present, glucose still needs to be broken down in an effort to release energy. This is when fermentation will take place. So there's two main types of fermentation. And the first one is alcohol fermentation. Now, alcohol fermentation will occur in yeast and also in plants. So the equation for alcohol fermentation is similar in the sense that it starts off with C6H12O6, which is glucose, but without oxygen, it's broken down differently. So we still get some carbon dioxide produced, but we will only get 2 carbon dioxide molecules as opposed to 6. I'll write that in there, carbon dioxide. And we also get this molecule, 2C2H5OH. And this is ethanol, and ethanol is a type of alcohol. So in alcohol fermentation, which can occur in yeast and plants, glucose is broken down in the absence of oxygen to form some carbon dioxide and then also some ethanol. So ethanol is actually the type of alcohol that we often see in alcoholic beverages that humans like to consume. And this fermentation of yeast and plants has been used for centuries in order to try and create and capture ethanol in order for us to use. Now, the only issue with alcohol fermentation and fermentation in general is it's much less efficient and only partially breaks down our glucose molecule here, which means less energy is released. And if we're using this to try and synthesize ATP, this is going to mean that our glucose will be broken down less and result in less ATP formed. If we have a look at our second type of fermentation, which relates to animals, we have lactic acid fermentation. So like I said, this occurs in animals, this occurs in humans. So in lactic acid fermentation, we have a glucose molecule which will turn into 2C3H6O3. So no carbon dioxide produced here. We only get one thing produced, which is lactic acid. So anyone who's ever been for a run before and eventually started to get tired, it's because instead of aerobic respiration taking place, lactic acid fermentation starts to take place when oxygen levels become depleted. And this has kind of a, I guess we could say, a toxic effect or a detrimental effect on our body, and our muscles will start to sort of feel tired and fatigued and sore, and that's as a result of the buildup of lactic acid in our bodies. So same as alcohol fermentation, lactic acid fermentation is only going to partially break down glucose, and once again this will only allow less ATP to be formed. And both of these processes occur in the cytoplasm. They don't make it to the mitochondria, and this is one of the reasons why we are only able to extract a small amount of energy from our glucose molecule. So I guess one of the main takeaways from this tutorial on fermentation is that fermentation occurs when oxygen is lacking, can occur in both plants and animals, yielding ethanol or lactic acid, depending on the type of fermentation. And also, this will only partially break down glucose, resulting in less energy released, and we will only be able to synthesize a fraction of the amount of ATP as if we were experiencing aerobic respiration.